Thanks, Sam, for this,
Sure.
and thanks to the organizers for giving me this opportunity to talk in front of this amazing audience. Um, Today, I will talk about how we can use satellite images or Earth observation data to quantify impact of COVID-19 lockdowns on the economy. The speed actually with which the pandemic had spread throughout the population took many of us by surprise. And as an emergency measure, governments called for complete lockdowns. But this has also led to an economic collapse and a contraction in GDP. So, being able to measure this contraction in real time can provide policymakers and businessmen with a useful tool to quickly make course corrections. So, during this talk, I will give you a broad overview of the various methods that we can use to leverage open access Earth observation data to quantify the impact of COVID-19 lockdowns. We will use some proxies like measuring car distribution in parking lots, or counting parked aeroplanes. Highways are considered as lifeline for most countries. We will look at innovative techniques to measure the number of moving vehicles on road. Quality of life is an important indicator of the inclusiveness of prosperity. I will show you how we can measure air pollution or quality of river water using low resolution satellite images. Let me start with this composite image of taken by Sentinel-5. The sensors measure the presence of NO2 in the atmosphere. Now, NO2 is the result of burning of fossil fuels and can be seen as a proxy for economic activity. As you can see in this image, there is a high concentration of NO2 around the New Delhi Ghaziabad industrial belt. There is also red spots out here under Varanasi in Jamshedpur and Bhilai, which are steel manufacturing complexes in India. We can also see bright spots over Mumbai and Ahmedabad in Gujarat and over Hyderabad and Karachi in Pakistan. This image was taken in April 2019, last year. But if you had taken a similar image in April 20, we could see a significant drop in pollution levels. This was because of the lockdown and the subsequent shutdown in factory output. In fact, we did a small experiment where we tried to calculate the NO2 levels for a number of geographies in Asia and in Europe. And we observed that the countries where there was a strict lockdown, there was a significant drop in NO2 levels. If you plot for Germany or the Chinese province of Wuhan, you will see major differences in NO2 levels. However, in countries where the lockdown was lax, we didn't see any significant changes in pollution levels. So let me show you. Um, I'm sure, yeah. Sorry. Let me show you my notebook that I have contributed to EuroDataQ, which allows you to quickly calculate the NO2 levels in the population. Uh, you can simply get your own area of interest and input it as a CSV file, or you can use this code block to provide the information. Here I've given Italy and Germany, and in this in loop, we are calculating the NO2 levels over two different years, that is 2000 and 2020. And then we can use any plotting function to create box plots or line charts. So the hypothesis out here was that we can that whenever economic activity takes place, it causes pollution. So if there's a change in pollution levels, we can we can use that as a measure of you can use that as a measure of economic activity. Here I have used Sentinel-5 data plots to calculate the NO2 levels. A similar thing can be then collaborated with VHR imagery. Now using VHR imagery for measuring car distribution. Now I have a lot of, we can use car distribution in parking lots near industrial and commercial spots to show the vitality of the region. Counting cars in parking lots can be a proxy for the revenue generating ability of a shopping mall. It can also show the popularity of an amusement park. But counting cars requires a higher resolution image. So we use data from PlanetScope constellation, which has a special resolution of 30 centimeters. This is used to detect more than 60 different classes of vehicles. Now, if you have a love for a no-code approach, we can use a platform like Pictera to detect vehicles. In this image, I have used an image taken from the Milan Expo and trained my model to detect cars. The same model is then used to detect cars in a factory parking lot in Hamburg, Germany. We can use the same approach to count the number of parked aeroplanes or planes in flight. We can analyze temporal signals and identify anomalies. Unexpected changes can provide useful economic signals. Uh, but what if you don't have high resolution images and can only use low res images as from Copernicus satellites? To give some perspective, the image of the parking lot in Hamburg had a spatial resolution of 30 centimeters. That is, each pixel could be correlated to a 30 centimeter by 30 centimeter square on the ground. In contrast to this, a Sentinel satellite has a spatial resolution of 10 meters. So at this spatial resolution, you cannot detect small objects like a truck in the image. The trade-off being that Sentinel data is free and can be easily accessed. So how do we detect trucks? We use a specific signature which is created by a traveling truck on a satellite image. The Sentinel satellite sees a traveling vehicle 3 times across different spectrums. This causes a rainbow signature on the image, and we can use this to detect trucks traveling on highways. Highways are considered as the lifeline of most economies, so measuring the traffic on these roads, especially commercial traffic, has high economic value. Measuring deforestation in Amazon. Let me start this video, which shows a deforestation incident taking place in the Amazon basin. And this entire forested land will be cut off and made barren. Now, using forest land for development purpose is a very dicey and political subject, especially for developing countries. Over the last decade, public opinion seems to have shifted towards commercial exploitation of forest land. This has led to budget cuts, and the number of forest inspectors has reduced to half of what it was 10 years back. This has created a strain on existing resources. So our team worked on this project during Planet Hack 2020. We created a web app which could identify such logging incidents in real time. The final goal is to create a completely automated pipeline which creates alerts on which inspectors on the ground can then take action. SAR for monitoring building construction. Satellite images are affected by weather conditions. A particularly cloudy day can make images useless, especially during the monsoon. This creates a vital gap in our information gathering process. But SAR, or a synthetic aperture radar image, can penetrate this cloud cover and provide us an all-weather view of the area of interest. This is useful for monitoring road construction, real estate, and defense establishments. As you can see, we use the concrete in construction has a very specific dispersion characteristic, which helps it differentiate from the background. So we used this characteristic to identify and monitor the deployment of a field hospital near Valencia in Spain, measuring the quality of rivers in Europe. During the lockdown, there were a lot of chatter on Twitter regarding users seeing wildlife in the canals of Venice. A lot of them were fake news, but if you look at the satellite images, you notice a significant drop in water pollution. There is a very simple reason for it, and that is the lockdown led to few tourists and less business. And so the boats didn't navigate the canals, hence less pollution. This is an image taken by Copernicus satellite in Feb 2020, that is before the lockdown. As you can see, there is turbidity in the water, and we can observe boats navigating the canals. The same image taken in 19 March 2020, that is after the lockdown, shows that the water has become very clear and there are few boats in the canals. We can also use sensors on Sentinel-2 satellites to detect the presence of plankton and aquatic life in the water. In this false color image, we have uh, shown a floating algae indicator, which is shown in green color. The red color shows turbidity in the water of Victoria Lake in Africa. The COVID-19 crisis might be considered as a tragedy of this century. It has exposed the weakness of the strongest of us all. For many of us, work from home has become a reality. But there was also humor. I don't know about you, but for me, while working from home, this was what I wanted to do with my kid. But this pandemic also gave me an opportunity to connect with a lot of people globally. I also I also learned to bake. So some of my experiments were a success, while some were a learning experience. While doing this, I also connected with people in the coronavirus community, which is a globally distributed, volunteer powered research organization, which is trying to assess the medical community to answer key questions related to the COVID 19. You can go, I would highly suggest to go onto their website and have a look. So let me finish this talk by pointing to some use cases and resources. Uh, there is an interesting use case by Graminer along with the Gates Melinda Foundation. Here, researchers have found a bacteria which, when they use it to infect a mosquito, the mosquito loses its ability to spread diseases. Now, the data scientists at Graminer then used geographical maps and high resolution satellite images to identify communities where the mosquitoes can be introduced. This is a very interesting use case, and I have provided links out here which you can use to access it. Uh, I have also grouped the resources on their difficulty level. So let me show you my browser, and I will show you the Sentinel website. Sentinel Hub provides a playground where you can access all the Sentinel data from all the Sentinel websites. They also host a contest, which I believe is now in their third or fourth edition, all which in which they provide you resources and all the scripts, all the winning scripts are available on their website. And so you can use your own data and get some new insights from it. Sentinel Hub also has a EO browser, which is a no-code approach to manipulating satellite images. You can, I think this is not loading. I wanted to show you how you can use Sentinel Hub and the playground to work with satellite images. So let us load for some time. I'll show you till then, I can show you some other resource. AWS set of around 80 data sets, which they have made open source. These are large data sets, about petabytes in size. You have Sentinel-2s, Landsat, NORAD, Cibers, Terrentiles. You also have digital maps, digital elevation maps, which are DEM. And Google Earth Engine. Google also has a Google Earth Engine. This is a platform for you to connect petabyte scale of Earth observation data to their machine learning infrastructure. They have a code editor, which, if you're familiar with JavaScript, it is very easy to get started with. You can code your script out here and see the visualization below. I would also point out to EOLearn, which is a package in Python, which allows you to quickly extract information, temporal and spatial information from satellite images. They have a set of tutorials which will get you started very quickly. Another resource I would like to point out is spacenet.ai. They have been holding challenges for the last, I believe, 7 years. And they have open sourced their data sets. These data sets are high resolution data. So you'll find them very interesting, and you can do a lot of activities with that. And they have also created an entire ecosystem of tools and resources which you can use to build I believe for that finish. I've talked about the resources. Sentinel Hub, I think, is more beginner level. Then you can start with EOLearn, and finally the SpaceNet challenges, which will help you get started quickly. Uh, I've talked about the AWS Open Data Repository and the Google Earth Engine and the Sentinel Hub stuff. So let me finish this with this beautiful image of the African continent. It shows the night view. I believe Nigeria and the city of Lagos is over here. The purpose is to show the huge unexplored potential of Nigeria. So with this, I hope a positive message. I would like to thank you for listening, and